Hi everyone and welcome to Physics 2A lab. So I wanted to kind of go over what you guys will be receiving from me and what resources you'll be using to complete the labs. Okay, so this is the first lab that you guys will be getting. And the first thing is that it has some directions and it has a couple different parts to it. Okay, so and this will be pretty typical in lab. So I will have maybe a few different activities for you guys to do in different parts. So just kind of pay attention to that. Okay, so as you can see, at least in the format of this one, I have a part A, okay, and in that section A, we have a part 1, okay, and a part 2, and then a part 3, okay, and then I have another section B. Okay, and a part 1 and a part 2 and so forth. Okay, so when you're going through this, don't get like real confused of that. Okay, just kind of try to read it and it should be totally fine. Okay, so my first one, say for this one, is going to be an introduction of motion. Okay, and so what you'll look for in your pivot, so if I go over to my pivot, these activities should be up. Once I give you guys the access, you should be able to see these activities for you to do. And my first one is going to be an introduction to studying motion, the ping pong ball bazooka. Okay, so this is going to be your first lab. Okay, so I'll click on it. And this is typically what they look like. So they break them down into parts. So part 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so you'll start with the first part. You'll read some introductory information for you. And this one also has you kind of go over the different tools that Pivot offers. So this is actually number 1, okay? And like I have here, this is just a procedure step. So do as the Pivot tells you to do, okay? So it tells you, hey, you can analyze the motion, click I to understand things. So this will tell you all kinds of information about these tools. But the basic thing is you want to know where this little tool thing is right here, okay? The first thing is it gives you a stopwatch, okay? And it also gives you a ruler, okay? And I can bring that right down here to actually use it. So say I want to measure the distance from the cannon, this ping ball cannon, all the way to the soda can. So I can line this up and I can measure it, okay? So this is a ruler that says that it's in centimeters. So I'm going to say, okay, it's like 50, 1, 2, 3, almost 54 centimeters, okay, from the cannon to the soda can. Okay, so that's the kind of thing that you can do. These typically have videos as well, so you can press play and watch. It was really hard to see because it was so fast. Okay, but you can use these little tools to play back the video. Okay, you can start it over, reset it, you can press play, you can pause it, you can rewind. Okay, this goes in like tiny little second intervals as well, so you can start something like that. You can use this guy, you can move it around and reset where you want it. You can move the stopwatch, you can reset the stopwatch so that it starts right then. Okay, so kind of play with it because a lot of these videos will have these capabilities, okay? This is just like a reference point if you're trying to be real precise, but a lot of these aren't really needed, okay? So a lot of the times you don't really need that kind of tool. But the stopwatch and the ruler definitely you'll be using, okay? So I may have some different instructions or different questions, or maybe worded a little bit differently than Pivot does, okay? And what you'll be doing is filling out these sheets that I give you. So I will upload this document. You'll download it and fill it out where they say insert answer here or insert blah, blah, blah here, okay? So what you'll do is you'll go through, you'll read the questions, answer them. Okay, so like this first one, it's saying use the ruler tool, like I was just using. Measure the distance, like I'm saying here too. Measure the distance from the right edge of the ball to the left edge of the soda can. Which answer is the closest? So it's giving you 4 different answers, and I want you to choose which one is the closest. Okay, now I don't want you to write A, B, C, D, okay? I want you to write the value, okay? And like I have here, write the value, okay? And same thing with the other ones. It's gonna have you measure time. It'll ask you all kinds of different questions, okay? But just remember that my questions might be a little bit different. Typically, they'll be pretty much the same, but just remember that when you're going through this, okay? Now, when you get to other parts such as this one in part 2, we are looking at graphing, okay? So you'll be gathering data, okay, and inserting it into these data tables, okay? So it's already got it labeled what it is, time and position, and it has the units and the variable in here. Okay, so this is what your data tables would typically look like. Okay, and you can also insert rows and insert columns as needed, but for this one in particular, you won't need to. But you can just, enter your values here, blah, 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 and then you'll start seeing a graph form down here. Okay, so typically these come in pairs, and instead of like you going into like Excel and making these on your own, you might as well just use the pivot ones here. Okay, so in order to prove to me that you did it, what you'll do is you'll take a screenshot, okay, whether on your PC, your Mac, I don't know how well these will work on phones or tablets, but on some kind of computer, it should work fine. But anyway, taking screenshots and pasting them into the Word document, that will work perfect. Okay. What else is there? And again, the questions may not be exactly the same. I kind of deviated, I think, at one point over here. Can't quite remember. Nope, looks like it's pretty much the same. And then going on to part 3, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And it's really looking at what we have just been looking at with kinematics in 1 dimension. Okay, so it should be very similar to what we were looking at in our lectures. Okay, so that is going to be our first one. And one thing I do want you to know that on Pivot, it shows you like how much everything is worth, but really that's just Pivot's way of doing it. I may not do it the same way. Okay, so if that says 5 points, it may be 2 points in mine. Okay, so don't really pay attention to the scoring. You won't be submitting it onto Pivot, you'll be submitting it onto Canvas, and that's where I'll be grading them. Okay? All right, so let me go back to these. Okay, so this is going to be the second portion of your lab this week. You're going to be looking at billiards, okay? So you're going to be looking at these billiards racing, okay? So if I look at this one, trial 1, okay? The idea here is you are trying to figure out which ball is going to win the race, okay? I'm going to use trial 1 as an example of how to do this. Okay, so when you're doing this, don't use trial 1, use a different trial. There's plenty others to choose from. Okay, but I'm going to use trial 1. Sorry, I was making sure my dog was okay. She's actually all cute in her bed. She's never in her bed. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is, well, first, I have these in a kind of a different order than the questions on here. So my first question here is, which trial did you select? Again, don't choose trial 1 because I'm going to use that as an example. Okay, and then the next one is going to be plotting, getting my data and plotting. Okay, so first I'm going to get out, not that, I thought that was a ruler. Here's my little ruler, okay, and a stopwatch. Okay, and because this doesn't, whoops, these don't go the whole way, I don't care where this is going to be placed. Okay, so let's start it over. I want to go back until all 3 of the balls are no longer touching these people's hands. Okay, so I'm going to say, okay, I know I have 3 different color balls. Okay, so I'm going to need more columns than are here, because I need, for 3 balls, I need different trials, I need times and positions of these balls. Okay, so I'm going to say I at least need 4 extra? No, 2 extra, that's right, 2 extra. Okay, so how I do this is I go to these 3 little dots and I insert a column, doesn't matter left or right, okay? And I'm gonna say my first one is gonna be time. My units are seconds, variable is t. Second one is gonna be, let's see, that's like a white ball. White, whoops. White ball position. And the units will be in meters. Or actually, this one is in centimeters, so I'll say centimeters. And this will be x. Oh, right, I'm trying to find velocity though. So I actually am going to need more columns. Okay, I'm going to need 4 extra. Okay, because I want to calculate the, I need to find the positions and the velocities. Okay. So this is how I will set it up. And so forth. Okay, so I'm going to start the time. I'm going to reset that. And I'm going to say, okay, 0 seconds. I'm going to find all of my, find all of my positions. Okay, so this one's going to be a purple ball position. It's going to be a purple ball velocity. And then red ball position. Oh shoot, I need more. One more. Red ball, whoops, velocity. Okay, again, meters per second. Whoops. So it's taking me a little bit to set up. but I want to make sure that you guys understand this. That way it's not too difficult. Okay, so again, at my first time, I want to calculate my positions. So for my white ball, this is 0. I'm saying it's about 32 centimeters. So 32 centimeters is equal to 0.32 meters. Okay, all you got to do is divide by 100. Okay. All right, so my next one, purple, looks like it's at about 1. So 0.01. And we can't figure out the velocities yet because we'll need another point to do that. Okay, now my red looks like it's at 9, so 0.09 meters or 9 centimeters. Okay, now let me, what I'm gonna do is instead of taking a bunch of points for you guys right now, I'm just gonna take a big leap, but you guys will wanna do about like 5 to 7, like it says here, data points, okay? 5 to 7 data points, but I'm only gonna do a couple just to kind of show you guys what I'm looking for, okay? So I'm gonna go right here, and I'm going to take my next data point at time t equals 0.85, okay, seconds. Now my white ball position is at 51 to 3-ish. I'm gonna say 0.53. My purple ball is at 36, so 0.36. And my red ball is at 41, so 0.41. Okay, now I can calculate my velocities here. Okay, so these are, I guess you just put nothing there. Okay, so my velocity here is going to be this value, my position, my change in position over my time, okay? So I went from 0.53, I went from 0.32 to 0.53, okay? So my change in position is 0.21 divided by my time, which is, okay, 0.85. So my velocity is 0.247 meters per second. Okay. Okay. So I'll do the same thing for my purple ball. 0.36 minus 0.01 divided by 0.85 is 0.411 or 12. Okay. And then my last one is 0.41 minus 0.09 divided by 0.85, 0.376. Okay. So I have my velocities, I have my positions, and I have my time. So I'm going to start looking at it doesn't want to plot everything. I want to start looking at my plot here. Oh, there it is. It's way over there. Okay, so I'm going to pretend that I have all my data, and I'm going to go over here to the settings, and I'm going to write curve fit, and I want to look at linear because that is what we are looking for. We are looking for a linear relationship. And of course, mine's going to be really good just because I only have 2 points. But yours won't be like this, okay? But it will be pretty linear, okay? So, oh, I didn't even need to calculate that. I'm so silly. Okay, hold on. I didn't need to calculate the velocities here because I can grab it just from plotting, right? So yeah, I did an extra step, but it does show you that they work. It works, okay? So as you can see, remember when we were looking at our lectures that our position versus time graphs show us that the slope is velocity, okay? And that's what we're seeing here in this curve, is we're seeing our velocity as A, okay? And that's our 0.24. That's exactly what I calculated here, okay? For our white ball. Okay, so you don't need these. Okay, you don't need these velocity columns, so I'm just going to remove it. Just going to straight remove them. Okay. So this is all you need. You just need your positions and your time. Okay, and you can also add to have all of these on the same graph. You would just say add columns and then put all of them in there. And you can have all of your curve fits as well. Again, linear. So you can have them displayed all at the same time, and you can have all of your equations down here at the same time. And so you will screenshot these and submit them in here as well. Okay? All right. And then you'll predict a winner. And I have a couple of questions. I want you to write down the speed of each of those balls. So I would write down these speeds here. Again, you want more data to have a better looking curve. But anyway, and then you want to try to calculate what time will each of the balls reach the flag, okay? And that will be done using these equations, okay? So you want to know at whatever this distance is, when will it reach the flag? Okay, so let's see. My x would be the distance. I'm sorry, no, my y is the distance. My x is the time. This is kind of confusing because remember we are looking at our y as our x position and our x here as our time. It's kind of confusing. This is definitely not a great way to represent this, but just try to remember that. Remember our lectures, that's what that should represent, okay? And then try to state which ball will win based on that time, okay? How much time is going to pass, and predict which ball will win. And remember, it's prediction, so it doesn't have to be 100% correct. I'm not looking for correctness right here, but I want to see what your thought process is, okay? And this is science, and science sometimes can, go a little funky with experiments, okay? So predict, and we'll see if your prediction's correct in the next part, okay? So that's what you'll do. That's why it says lock answer and continue. So you don't really have to fill all this out. You can just, I'm pretty sure you could just click the lock answer, especially since you're not going to be graded off of Pivot. You're going to be graded on Canvas. Okay, so don't worry about that. And then you'll see if your prediction is correct. Okay. And again, answer these questions that I have written here. And then at the end of each lab, I will have some sort of conclusion that I want you to do. Just talk about what you learned during this lab, okay? In your own words, okay? So what equations did we use? Or what ideas did we need to know going into it? Okay, just talk about what you learned through doing it, okay? All right, and then when you submit, of course, please submit this to Canvas as a Word document or a PDF document. Okay, that way I can read it and grade it easily. It'll make my life a lot easier and your life a lot easier. Okay? All right, and if you have any questions, again, email me, message me on Canvas, whichever works for you. All right? All right, have a good week and good luck.